Hey everybody, Puzzle Max here, and today we're going to be having a look at the mf8 Circle Octahedron, Face-Turning Octahedron version 1. Crazy Face-Turning Octahedron, Circle Face-Turning Octahedron, call it what you will. This is the version 1, there's version 2 and version 3 that just have different cuts on each face, but as far as I can tell, the functionality is pretty much the same thing. This is a really cool puzzle. I've enjoyed figuring it out and kind of coming up with a method that works, so I'm going to explain that to you. All 8 faces on this puzzle have 0 typed faces, which means that circle in the middle never rotates when you turn a face. Plays true for all 8 faces, and because of that, it actually changes some of the things that you know about the standard face-turning octahedron puzzle. The most notable one is the fact that there are, in a way, defined centers on this puzzle. Because none of these circles rotate, these inside edge pieces of the circle can never leave their orbit. Because of that, they're not attached to one another, but this yellow will always end up back on this position, as will the green, purple, red, whatever. And so in order to get things back to where they belong, you have to put those edges onto the same face they started so that all of the other edges can fall into the right place. That means that at the end, the corners also have different positions they can be in than on your standard face-turning octahedron. And it adds one other really cool factor. These inside tip pieces, that's what I'm going to call them, the inside tip here, is connected to the inside tip on the opposite face. So this yellow and red are always together, purple and green always together. Same plays true throughout the entire puzzle. So that plays a big role in how you solve things, and it makes it actually, in my opinion, easier than your standard face-turning octahedron. This is not a very difficult puzzle. It's a lot of fun, though, and you do have to use some techniques from face-turning octahedron, the pyraminx, things like that. And you will want to have a basic understanding of circle puzzles in general, specifically the standard 3x3 circle puzzle. Because in reducing these outside pieces, you have to know some just basic circle puzzle techniques and moves and things. The way I'm going to be referring to these throughout most of the solve, all of these are just going to be inside, so we'll have inside tips, inside edges, and then I'm going to refer to these 2 colored pieces as the outside edges. These pieces here I'm going to call the outside tips, and then these pieces are going to be the true tips. So just keep that in mind as I'm explaining things. I'll try and break that down slowly as I go. The scramble here is the same as your standard face-turning octahedron. This puzzle turns great out of the box. So just go have some fun, make some turns, and I'll get back to you in a second once I've gotten this bad boy completely scrambled up and ready to take a look at the solve. And we're back. After a few minutes of randomly turning, I think things are pretty well messed up. This plays true with one of the things from the standard face-turning octahedron. You can only have 4 different colors on each face. It's only ever possible to have 4 different colors. So for example, on this yellow face, I've got yellow, pink, blue, red. I can never get other colors to this face. It's only those 4 colors. That plays true on a standard face-turning octahedron as well as this one. So no matter how many times you turn and twist this, you're going to end up with some pieces that are still lined up the way they should be. That can get a little frustrating during the scramble, but you just kind of have to learn to deal with it. So as I was saying in the beginning, these edge pieces, these inside edge pieces, have fixed centers. So the way I like to do this first is to just find a color and put all of those edges in place. So let's see here. I don't have any yellow inside edge pieces on this position where these 2 are already lined up. I don't have any inside edge pieces here, which means that's not my yellow face. So let's turn this up to here and this up to here and see if I can make this one a yellow piece. And lo and behold, I can. So now all of those inside edge pieces are yellow. That's where they belong. So next up, let's see what 3 colors I have on this face, what 3 inside edge colors I have available here. I've got green, white, and purple. That tells me that I need to make it so that this yellow is either purple, green, or white on these 2 faces. This is hard to follow in the beginning because you kind of forget what you're looking at. But I have green here, purple here of the inside edges. So that tells me that I can turn this face 1 turn, and now I've got the green inside edge matching up with this one, and the purple inside edge matching up with this one. That means that this yellow is in the correct orbit. Everything's rotated correctly. So, because if I turn it this way, those don't match up. So turn that back. Now that means I just need to do a few more rotations to get all of the inside edges on all 8 faces where they belong. So this one here is my green. If I turn this face, I can line that green inside edge up with those other 2. And if I come over here, got orange here currently, but if I turn this once, now white's there, I turn it once more, and now the purple inside edge is lined up where it needs to be with these other 2. So those are done. I've got red and red on this face. It tells me that my last turn needs to be to bring red into there. After those quick turns, now all of my inside edge pieces on all 8 faces are correct. All 3 of these are orange, pink, white, blue. On the other side, I've got green, yellow, purple, and red. So all of those are in the correct places where they belong. The next step is to get these inside tip pieces. And those, because they're connected on opposite faces, across from the tips, that's a pretty easy step in itself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a flat face as my top and a flat face as my bottom. Doesn't matter which color you start with, use your own preference here. So I know I've got orange on the bottom here. Because of the way things rotate, these inside tip pieces can only be in this layer or in the positions where they could potentially belong. So let's find an orange one in this top layer. You'll almost always have one there, so let's just find one since I'm working on the orange face on the bottom. Here's the orange and green. So I need to find where those belong. I have to bring those around. I can turn this layer freely for setup moves because I'll always be able to bring it back after doing down, down, up, ups and things like that to put things back where they belong. So here's my green face. Let's bring this orange and green around. So orange and green right there. I know that orange belongs on the bottom, green belongs here. So if I just go down, down, up, up, and then undo that setup move that I did, now that green and orange piece is in place. That down, down, up, up is going to come into play a lot throughout this puzzle. You're going to use different faces as your right and left, depending upon the angles you're looking at things from, but it's the same exact moves. It's just a matter of figuring out what you're trying to move in the process. So I've got another orange piece here on this top layer. So let's see what that is. That's my orange and white. So here's my white face. So let's bring this orange one around. Now if I do a down, down, up, up, starting on the left, that'll bring this orange one down to the bottom, and it'll match this white one to the white face. So start on the left, down, down, up, up, and then just undo the setup move so that I get that white edge back where it belongs. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, you've completed the white face. And I have. But because there's still other things to do, chances are this is going to get messed up again. So don't worry about that. Just kind of focus on what you're trying to solve in each step. So I've got one more orange to do. And here, it's in place. The orange and purple is in the right position, but it's upside down. So I just need to get it up to this top face so that I can put it in going the other direction. So I'm going to just take it out with that same exact series, just a down, down, up, up. I'm going to do a setup move to turn it so that when I do that again, the orange is going to come down. So down, down, up, up, and then undo that setup move that I did so that all of my inside edge pieces are correct still. And now this orange face is complete, and so are all of these guys. Now, the next step is going to be completing this bottom layer. I need to do that pretty much exactly the same as I was doing before, but this time, instead of doing a down, down, up, up, I'll likely be doing an up, up, down, down. So up, up. And again, this is where your left and rights change, and you just have to look at things a little differently. So let's find the pink and yellow. Let's see where that is. It's not in this top face. I'll either have pink or yellow facing up here, which means that that piece is probably in one of the positions that I'm trying to fix. So here's my pink and yellow. That's in one of the positions, but it's not correct. So in order to fix that, I just need to bring it to the top. So I'm going to do up, up, down, down. Now that's in this top face with pink facing up. Now, because the circles don't rotate, turning this upper layer does absolutely nothing for moving that pink and yellow piece. But because of what I'm trying to fix, I can turn this bottom layer and not mess up the orange circle that I've already completed. So let's get the pink and yellow piece down on the bottom where I can use it. So now I've got pink here and the yellow and pink piece that I'm trying to fix. If I were to bring this down this direction, I can see that the pink and the yellow line up. So that tells me this is in a correct spot, and I just need to do that down, up, up, down, down, but this time I'm going to start on the left. So I'm going to get that piece out of the way. I'm going to bring its position up, bring it back down, and bring it back down. Now, it looks wrong, trust me, I know, because you see these yellow inside edges, which determine your centers. But you've got to remember, you did a setup move on the bottom. So I have to turn this back, and now those line up. And as I said, the orange circle is still perfectly fine. So now that pink and yellow is where it belongs. So now let's see what else we've got here. I've got a yellow and blue that I need to put in. Let's see. That's already in the top face, so I'm going to put that pointing towards me. So I've got yellow up and blue facing towards me. Let's rotate this around on the bottom face. So now blue is here, but that doesn't work, because if I were to do one of those moves, it's going to put blue on either the right or the left. So let's do this again. Now I can see that because I've got yellow facing me, if I bring this yellow and blue inside edge tip piece down on this side, that yellow matches up, that blue matches up. Which means again, I need to do the up, up, down, down, starting on the left-hand side. So if I do that, it would bring this yellow and blue into position. However, because this yellow and pink is already correct, it would mess that up. So since I'm not worried about anything on this red face yet, I can actually do a very similar series, but instead of going up on the left face as my first turn, I'm going to go down and then bring that position up, bring this back up, and then bring this back down. Fixed that. I just need to remember that I did setup moves, so turn that around until the pink inside edges are all lined up, and now I've got the pink and yellow good and the pink and blue good. Last one to do is the blue and pink. So let's find that. Sitting in a pretty good spot here, so let's turn this so that the pink is lined up with the pink face. That doesn't work, so I had it in the right position to begin with. So now if I turn this blue down to the blue inside edge, matches up the pink. Again, because I've got two of these already solved, I don't want to bring this one up and risk messing up the blue and yellow that I've already got solved. So I'm going to bring this down first on the left-hand side. So down, up, up, and down. And because the blue inside edges are already matched up. I know I didn't do any setup moves or anything like that. So those are ready to go, sitting where they belong. Now the next step is to get these three pieces. So I need to get the inside tip pieces along this top layer. So those are all needed to fix. The best way to do this is to disrupt one of your orange pieces and then use setup moves on this top layer in order to replace everything, eventually in order to place everything, and then eventually replacing your orange piece that you took out correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do, because none of these are in their correct locations, I've got orange and white here, I've got green and white here, and green and purple here. I said orange, I meant purple and white. You saw the mistake, whatever. I'm just going to take one of these out, and that's going to move this green and orange to this top layer. So let's take out this white and green one. Same thing, I'm just going to go down, down, up, up. Now, where does that need to go? Well, I've got white facing me, and I've got green down. So that means this probably needs to go into this position on the other side. Two ways I can do this. I can either turn it up, turn this over, and then turn this down, which works perfectly fine. Or I can just do another down, down, up, up, starting on the right-hand side. That's going to move this purple and white to the bottom. It's going to move this white and green up to this position, and it's going to move this green and orange over to here. Either one works. You just kind of play around with it and pick your favorite. I'm just going to go down, down, up, up. That put that green and white into the correct position. Now, because my next goal is to get this orange and green back into the correct position, I don't want to do a down, down, up, up from here and risk messing up what I just fixed. So I'm going to do a single turn here. And on this one, because these pieces are somewhat fixed, they can't flip over, or they can't, you can't split them up. There's only a couple of positions that these can be in. So in this step, you're either going to have them correct, or you'll have two of them flipped. So let's put the orange and green one back first, and then go from there, see what I have. In order to do that, I need to bring the orange and green position up to this top layer. So I'm going to do that. And then I need to put the orange and green piece in where it belongs, and then bring it back down. In doing that, I already fixed my setup move, so there was nothing to worry about there. That was an easy fix. There's one other position that you may come across here. Let me set that up really quick, and I can show it to you. And the main reason I'm doing this now is because this algorithm actually comes into play later on for a couple of different reasons. In this case, I've got the purple and green in the correct position, but it's flipped. And I've also got the white and green in the correct position, but also flipped. This is where the pyraminx type techniques come into play, because the same exact algorithm that you can use in this case on a pyraminx, when you have two edges left in the correct place, but they need to flip, you can use here. I'm going to just go down, down, up, up. That took all three of those out of the positions they need to be in. Now I'm going to bring this green and white one across to where it belongs. Bring this green and purple one up into place. And then when I undo that U-turn, it puts that orange one into position and bring it back down. So that flips those two, the purple and green, the white and green, flips those in place. It also flips everybody else, but you're not concerned about that right now. And then it just puts that green and orange back where it belongs. So you fixed the orange, and then you fixed these faces that are adjacent to the tips of the orange. The faces that are adjacent to the edges of the orange face aren't quite done yet. That's because those faces interact with the top face. They don't interact with the bottom face. So I need to focus solely here on getting one of these inside tip pieces in place. I don't care if the other two fall in. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But my main concern is getting one of them and seeing what happens with the rest. So I can see here that I've got yellow facing up here. I know this is the yellow and red, and I know it belongs here. So I'm going to start by just bringing that one into this position with a down, down, up, up. That put that into position, and because of the way this puzzle functions, it also put the blue and red in the right position, and it put the pink and red into the right position. But that pink and red and that blue and red are both flipped upside down. The same fix applies as we did a second ago. I'm just going to put those as my front facing me with a white face, the white face on top. Depending on where you start, you'll have a different color, obviously. And I'm going to do that same algorithm. So it's down, down, up, up. Bring this over, up on the left. Bring this back, and then down on the left. That flipped those two edges, or those two inside tips, and these two inside tips, because they're one piece. So now, all of my circles on all 8 faces are completely built and ready to go. The next step is just as easy, and in my opinion, probably the easiest step of the entire solve. What you need to do is get all of these outside edge pieces placed. This plays along a lot like the outside edges of a circle 3x3. So what I'm going to do here is just find one that's correct, but now I'm going to have a tip facing up and a tip facing down instead of flat faces. These pieces can't flip over, they can't be upside down, backwards, whatever. They will always fall into place, so there's no reason to kind of overthink this. You just need to use one that needs to go into place and one that is incorrect at the time. So I've got this green and red one. I'm going to use that first. I'm going to start there, and I'm going to fix all 4 of these surrounding this top tip. The red and white is right here. So I'm going to bring this up into this position and use this purple and yellow that I don't care about yet as my third piece. So I'm just going to go up, up, down, down. Because I'm using these 2 edge adjacent faces to swap things around, it doesn't mess up any of the circles that I had. Because with those, I was fixing corner, tip adjacent. I was using tip adjacent pieces as my left and right. So next up, we've got the white and pink. Let's find that. It's around here somewhere. Okay, it's over here. Now, if I do the same move that I did, I'm going to mess up this red and white that I just put in. But if I do a quick setup move by turning this red face to put that white and pink onto the white face. I know this is the white face. Sorry, I keep getting close to the screen there. Now I can do that same series of moves just using 3 pieces that I don't care about in order to put this white and pink in place. So I'm going to bring this white and pink around to here with a down, then use a third piece that I'm not worried about yet, down, and then up and up. That fixed that white and pink, and now I just need to undo the setup move that I did to put this purple back where it belongs. And it left my white and red correct, and my red and green correct, so that's fine. Next up, I need to find the green and pink. It's sitting down here. I can do the same basic thing I was doing a second ago and use this as my third piece since I don't care about it yet. So just bring this up into position, swap it out with this one, and then down and down. So now all 4 of those outside edge pieces surrounding this top tip are correct. Next thing I want to do is just flip this whole thing over, and now I'm going to fix the inside or the outside edges between these faces, so on this middle layer. This functions almost exactly like you've been doing. It's just a matter of finding them and putting them in the right place. So let's see here. Orange and pink. I've got the orange and pink edge over here. Not worried about these ones on these top four ones yet, so I don't care if I mess those up. So I'm just going to bring this up here, pair up the orange and pink edge, and then put it back. So up, down, down, and up. Put that in. Next up, blue and white. Let's find that. That's sitting over here. Again, because I'm not concerned about these four yet, I can do that same exact algorithm, even though this one's already correct. I'm not worried about messing that up because I can fix that pretty easily later on. So I'm going to bring this up, down, down, and up. So now that orange and pink is in place, and that blue and white is in place. Next up, I've got purple and red. Let's find that. Purple and red's here. Same thing. I can just bring this position up, put the purple and red in place, bring that down, and bring that down. And last but not least, I've got the yellow and green. This time I can't go up because I've already got everybody on this middle layer, except for this one, completed. So I'm going to go down. So bring that down out of the way, bring its position up, bring this back up, and bring it down. That's in place, ready to go. Now, lastly here, for these final four outside edges, you're only going to have three different situations. You'll either have all four of them in place, ready to go where they should be. You'll have a 3 cycle, like I've got here, or you'll have 2 swaps. All that means is you'll have to do the 3 cycle twice. Fix one, then fix the last 3. It's a very easy setup, very easy series. There's no overthinking here. You want to start with one that's lined up correctly with the right color, but not in the right place, and move it to its correct place. Swap in the third one, and then undo. So I'm just going to go down, down, up, and up. And now all of those outside edge pieces are in place where they belong. Next up is where the fun part starts, so let me take a quick break here and I'll come back and show you how to get these outside tip pieces where they belong. Okay, now it's time to put these outside tip pieces in place. At first sight, this looks far more difficult than it actually is. You think to yourself, I need to come up with some fancy 3 cycle and move things around and turn lots of different faces, but it's not that hard. Because of the way this puzzle works, and you can only get 4 colors per face, that also means with this orange face, for example, there's only 3 other faces that can interact with this orange face. And those are the faces that are tip adjacent or opposite. So this purple face can interact with this orange face, green face, and the white face. None of the other faces can interact with this orange face. So basically what that means is you start with orange on top, or whatever color you want on top, and then just go around and look at those tip adjacent faces and find an orange outside tip that you need to put in. Here's an orange outside tip that I need to put into place. It's in a good spot. I can use it from here. That's fine. And in this situation, I can actually fix 2 of these at the same time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to this orange face. I'm going to turn the orange face to put a new one in position and then undo that series of moves that I did at the beginning to put everything back and then undo the setup move in the middle move. Because I want to bring this white one down to this position, I'm going to get it out of the way first. That setup move is very easy and it doesn't hurt anything you've already done. I'm going to bring this orange one up to this purple position. This purple one is going to go over to here, and this white one is going to come down here. Because there's only 3 turns that can be done on this puzzle, when I do the middle move, it's actually going to undo the setup move at the same time. So that's just convenience. So first thing I'm going to do is bring this orange one up to the top. So just up, up, down, and down. That put the white inside tip piece on the top. Now I'm going to bring this white outside tip around to match up there. and then undo that up, up, down, down that I did to begin with. So up, up, down, and down. And you can see that fixed and left me with two purples on the orange face. Next up, I'm going to do the same thing by just turning to another tip adjacent face. This time I've got purple. I've got one here ready to go. So I'm going to bring this orange up to here. This purple is going to come across to here. And luckily enough, this purple will end up down here on the purple face. A very common occurrence. So up, up, down, down. Started on the left that time. Bring this purple around to match up with that. And then undo those moves, but starting on the right this time. So up, up, down, and down. Because I made that middle move, I need to undo it now. So just bring that around. Good to go. Now the next orange piece that I have is right next to the orange face. Doesn't work. I can't use that. You can, but it's more of a cluster than it is worth worrying about. So I'm just going to do a setup move, but on the purple face this time. So I'm going to bring this purple down to a usable position. Now from here, I can just do the same up, up, down, down that I've been doing and swap it out. So this orange is going to go up here. This orange is going to come across to here, and this purple will end up down here. So up, up, down, down. Bring that purple around, and then undo those moves, starting on the left this time. Now I got to remember here, I did that middle turn on the top face, so I need to undo that first. And then I did that setup move on the purple face. So I'm going to bring that back around to fix all those. So now the orange face is done. And that's really all there is to this. It's just a matter of picking a face and using the tip adjacent faces to find the pieces that you need to fix those outside tip pieces. So let's just move over to the yellow face. On this blue face, I have a yellow outside tip that I can use. I don't have any blue up here, so that doesn't matter. I'm just going to swap this red one down to the blue face. First, I need to put this yellow into a usable position. So let's turn it around this way. And then do the same thing that I've been doing. So up, up, down, down. Bring this red one to match up with this blue, because that's the one I need to get rid of. And then undo that up, up, down, down, this time starting on the left. Have to remember the moves that I did. My middle move, I need to undo that first. And then undo the setup move that I did on the blue face. So now orange is done, yellow is done. Move over to the purple face. No purples on the orange because that's already done. So let's go around to here. On the white, no purples, which means on this last face, there has to be a purple. So this green one, purple. If I bring this up to here, the white one is going to move to another purple spot. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to get it out of the way and then carry out the sequence. Up, up, down, down. Bring that third piece over and undo the up, up, down, down. And go back. Let's see what I've got. My orange is done, yellow's done, purple's done. Let's move on to blue. Obviously no blues on the yellow because that's already done. So go around to this other face. No blues on the pink. And that means that on my red face, I've got the two blue pieces that I need to put up here. Start with either one, doesn't matter. I just need to make sure I move it into a spot and have a third piece that I can move down to the red face. This one happens to be red, so it's going to fix another thing too. So up, up, down, down. Bring this red one over and undo that sequence. Make sure I undo that middle move now. Keep all of my circles completed. I've got another blue piece here. I'm going to bring this one down to a usable position, and it'll bring this pink one down to the red face when I get done. So up, up, down, down. Bring that pink one around to here, and then finish off by doing it on the left. Undo some moves here. Make sure I bring this top face back to where it belongs, and then undo the setup move that I did on the red face. And all is happy. And that means that I've got three faces, the orange, blue, purple, and yellow, complete, ready to go. So now, on the other side, I've got four more faces to go, but because of the way this puzzle works, they can only be in the ready to go places. So the pieces for this red face will only be on the pink face. and the pieces for this white face will only be on the green face, and vice versa. So for this, I'm going to start by fixing this red face, and in doing so, it'll also fix this pink face. So bring this red one up. Bring a pink one over, doesn't matter from which side, and then undo that first part, and undo the setup move, the middle move. Same thing, but this time I'm going to start on the left, bring this red one up to the top, bring this pink one around, and undo, but starting on the right this time. And then undo that middle move. Lastly, I just need to complete the same thing, but on the green and white faces. So I've got a white one ready to use here. I'm going to just go up, up, down, down. Bring this green one around to use, and then undo that up, up, down, down. Undo that middle move, and we're ready. This white one I can't use from here, so I'm just going to bring it to a usable position, down, bottom, right for me, and up, up, down, down. Bring this green one around, and undo the up, up, down, down. And then undo my middle move and undo my setup move. And there you have it. Everything is good to go. The final step is the tips, and this one is, in all honesty, seems way harder than it really is. It's not as difficult as you might think, but it can be a bit difficult to follow. So hang on one second, we'll get to that in a minute. And now the tips. This step is much easier than I first thought it was, and it just threw me for a loop for a while. But you need to know some just kind of intuition and things like that. But afterwards, it's pretty easy to just go from there and make it work. First thing I'm going to do is worry about fixing one face. I want all 3 tips on one face in the correct places, correctly oriented, ready to go. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter where you start from. I've already got 2 of these white ones in place and oriented correctly, so I'm going to start there just because. This white, blue, purple, and red one needs to go here. Obviously, you can't just turn it there. And when I do a down, down, up, up sequence, it's also going to move the inside circle and outside tip piece. So what that means is that I've got to get that piece, this piece here, I've got to get it in place, swap it with something that I'm not worried about yet, and then undo that sequence, and then undo the second step. It'll make more sense here when I do it. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm not worried about this. I'm going to use this, but it will come back into place. So don't worry about using a piece that's already correct for the first set of this. So first thing I'm going to do is bring this white one into where it belongs with a down, down, up, up. Now, these 3 corners are the ones that have already been affected. So this is the one that I was trying to fix. I want to get this one out, but I don't want to use either of these colors that have already changed. So I don't want to use the yellow that's changed or the blue that's changed. And I don't want to use either one of these tips that were also affected in that first algorithm. So I can use this style turn to affect 2 different colors that haven't been touched by that first sequence. And because I'm not worried about the opposite face, I'm not worried about the yellow pieces yet, I've got a piece back here that I don't care about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down to here. I'm going to bring in a 3rd piece that I'm not worried about yet. So in this case, a yellow piece. And then undo that to bring that new 3rd piece up to here. So I'm going to bring this down this direction. I'm going to bring that 3rd piece from the back over to here. I'm going to bring this back up. And I'm going to bring this back down. It looks like I've messed up a bunch of stuff, but I really haven't. Now I'm going to undo that first sequence that I did, but this time I'm going to start on the left. That's going to put the piece that was here, the white piece that was here, back in place. Good to go. And now I need to undo that second sequence that I did to bring the piece that I was originally trying to fix back into this position. So since I went down first, I need to start by bringing this up, bring this piece down to here, bring this down, and then bring this back up to here. And now that entire white face is completely built. All those tips are in place and everything's good. So next up, my main concern here is fixing one of these yellow pieces. Lo and behold, because of the way this puzzle works, if I get one of these correct, the other two will be in the correct places. They may not be oriented correctly, but they will fall into the correct place because there's no other place for them to go, because there can't be two swapped. So they'll have to be in the right place. So as long as I focus on just getting one of these correct, it's going to work that the other one is in the right place as well. So let's take a quick look here and see what's the best way to go about this. This one already has purple touching purple. So that means that this piece, which needs to go here, can be done by just a single left turn. But I don't want to use this piece because I still need to have a third piece to use when I'm swapping things out. So what I'm going to do here is a setup move so that I can put this piece, this third piece, in this back position where I know I'll be able to use it. So I'm going to bring this to the back. Now I'm going to do a sequence to put this piece in the correct place. Same sequence that I did, but this time I'm going to start on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go down, down, up, up. Works just like it did before. Now I want to swap this piece out, because this is the one I was trying to correct, and bring in this piece, this other yellow piece, that I moved with the setup move. I'm going to do it the exact same way. I'm going to bring this down, bring that other yellow piece in, bring this back up, and then bring this back. Again, because I used a different turn, these pieces stayed where they need to be. Now I want to undo that first sequence that I did. I think I may have done that wrong. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I undid that second move wrong. But now I want to undo that first sequence that I did, but this time starting on the right. So down, down, up, up. And now I'm going to undo that second sequence that I did to put this piece back where it started. Bring this up, bring this down, bring this down, and bring this back up. It put that one in place, and I did that setup move, so I'm going to undo that setup move. And this time I got lucky, and not only did they fall into place, but they also fell into place oriented correctly. That's not always going to be the case, so give me 1 second to set up for a potential, I don't want to call it a parody, but a potential fix you'll need to do at the last stage of this. So a potential case you can end up with is you'll have the last two tip pieces in the correct places, but flipped 180 degrees. Far as I know, I've done this puzzle a dozen times, and I've never come across a situation where one is flipped once counterclockwise, the other is flipped once counterclockwise. As far as I know, if you have two that are in place and wrong or oriented incorrectly, they'll both be flipped 180 degrees. This is a much easier fix than I originally made it when I first solved this puzzle, but it's very simple when you think about it. So this is in the right place, but the yellow needs to be here, red needs to be here. This is in the right place, but yellow needs to be here, pink needs to be here. First thing I want to do is put one of the ones that needs to be flipped in the back, and the other one on either the right or the left. I prefer the right, so that's where I'm going. What I'm going to use is that same algorithm that I used earlier to flip the inside tip pieces. This time it's going to flip this entire section of pieces. The inside tip, the outside tip, and the true tip on this side and this side. So if I do that, just down, down, up, up, bring that over, bring this up, bring this back, and bring this down. It flipped everybody. Flipped this, which was correct. I didn't want to mess that up, but sometimes you need to change some things in order to fix some things. It also flipped this tip and put it correct, but it moved the orange or the green and purple that were correct. Now what I need to do is get this other tip that needs to flip 180 degrees into this position without moving this green or this purple, and without moving this piece that just needs to flip. So what I'm going to do is do a partial turn, bring this tip that still needs to flip into this position, and use this as my third tip. So I'm just going to go down, up, up, down. Remembering that sequence and remembering where I am, I remember that this green and purple is what I'm trying to fix, and this tip is also what I'm trying to fix. I'm going to do that same exact sequence to fix both of those. So down, down, up, up, bring this over, bring this up, bring it back, and bring this down. That flipped that tip. As you can see, it matches up with things. And now I just need to undo the second sequence that I did to put all three of these back where they belong. So bring this up, down, down, and up. And after that, everybody is in place, all the colors are looking good, and the mf8 crazy circle face-turning octahedron is solved and ready for another go. So I hope that helped. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, happy solving.